Greetings. Welcome to In Conversation with Trevor, brought to you by Heart and Soul Broadcasting Services. I go beyond the headlines and beyond the sensational. Today I'm in conversation with Prudence Katomeni Mbofana, a performing artist, vocal coach, and a songwriter. If you enjoy this conversation, remember to subscribe, to like, and share. Let's get down to some work. Prudence Katomeni Mbofana, I am excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Before we start, I need to share with our viewers that we're very excited about the growth of the show. So we are currently sitting on 9 million views, still growing. We are at 61,000 subscribers. And I really want to urge you, invite you, please subscribe. When you subscribe, you get a notification every time we have one of these quality shows. So please do subscribe. Go and click that subscribe button, click that alert button, and share as much as possible. So that's us there. So you are, like I said, a performing artist. You are a vocal coach. You are a songwriter. Which one of these is Prudence?
I think it's the performing artist.
Okay.
That's the one. That's the one I identify with the most.
Is that where you come alive?
That's where I come alive.
Yeah.
That's where it's my escape. I'm in my own little world when I'm there.
Yeah.
I do engage the audience, obviously, but it's a lovely little space that I can express myself freely.
Do you have a process of, before I do it, this is what I do, or you're random? Are there things that you do? Do you have a habit, before I go onto the stage, this is what I'm going to do?
Yes, well, first of all, I try to avoid a lot of conversations before that, so I can. It's more like a meditation to just get into the zone, do a little walk through what's going to happen, get connected with the spirit. That's the spirit of the ambiance of the space. And of course, I never go on stage without saying a little prayer.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. You've been doing this for 20 years now. I mean, as a vocal performer, 20 years, am I right?
I think it's over, actually.
Over 20
Yeah.
Have you had a day where your voice has let you down?
Yes, I've had quite a few, although, you've got nice people in the audience who always come and say, we didn't hear it, But I think one that pops up first is I was going on my first tour with the Cool Crooners, and we left Zimbabwe around about the time, then there was Haifa.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a performance at HIS, Haifa performance, and then we had to catch the plane the next day. And I lost my voice. And I think it was more of nerves. It was a very big crowd. I mean,
yeah.
And then performing with the Cool Crooners, and Oliver Mtukudzi was going to perform after that. So I think it was more of a psychological thing. So I lost my voice. Thank goodness there were quite a few people with all sorts of mooties, which I drank, and I made it through the show.
Yeah. So you rose to prominence with one of my favorite songs, Ruvarangu. I wish I had the voice to sing, and with Jazz Invitational.
Yes.
Talk to me about that season of your life, Ruvarangu, the time you had with Jazz Invitational. You were with them for about 10 years or more.
Yes, that's
Talk to
true.
me about that season of your life.
Yeah. Well, I'll just take you back a little bit to where I finished high school. My last 2 years of high school, I had just been exposed to jazz music on radio. And I knew that after school, one of the things I wanted to do was be a part of a band and just learn, what happens, the chemistry and things like that. So I did first do a stint with a group called The Vice. Lovely puppies, intelligent, smart, and they really kind of fed me with the music and the knowledge I needed. And during that time, I would also do little gigs in the studio with Kelly Rusike.
Yeah.
And then Sam Matare started a project called the Moving Jazz Cafe. And he had most of the then Jazz Invitation members in that band. And they decided to call me on. And so that was pretty much like the formation of Jazz Invitation. I was the youngest at the time. And of course, when it's like that, I've always been told, take a seat back, watch how it's done, ask questions. And of course, don't forget to just express yourself when you can. So it was an amazing journey, seeing how everybody working with gifted people who are knowledgeable, not only about music, but other things. So I learned a lot. I grew a lot under Jazz Invitation. Yeah.
So you're working with gifted people. You learned a lot. You're expressing yourself. Talk to me about the key takeaways for you. What were the key lessons that you took away from that season with the Jazz Invitational?
It was more of having chemistry, making sure that when you put a band together, there has to be a chemistry.
Right.
If that chemistry, like for me, if it's not there, I feel like our time together, we'll have to put that on ice. So the chemistry was so good that even if we had planned to do a performance in a certain way, but if the audience reacts in a certain way, it just took maybe an eye little look like
to come back,
and everybody knew, okay, we're taking it this way. So it's like we responded the same way and performed, reacting to the audience it was almost telepathic. So and I believe that's because the chemistry was there. We had each other's backs. You knew when somebody wasn't in a good space, and we try and cover that up or try and uplift that person. Yeah. So for me, that was the greatest takeaway. Yeah.
And you were young. I mean, which takes me to the point that you started singing at 3 years old. Is that true?
3 years old in my grandmother's passage.
Yeah.
Yes, I would close doors and compose in that passage. I don't know what was it about the passage, but I did that. And then I believe that the person who then really recognized my talent and did a lot to expose it out there was the lady called Tessa Reynolds. I was then 8 by then. But before that, during family functions, you'd sing. But I think in the home, it wasn't considered like, oh wow, what a great gift, because everybody there sang. My mom could sing, her sisters could sing, her brothers. When they decided to go into worship, because that was mandatory in the house of Jacob. That was my grandfather. We had to do devotion, especially every evening. And when they just broke into song, I thought it was angels singing.
Wow.
So it wasn't, so when I was singing, it was considered, yeah, okay, she can sing. But Tessa Reynolds is the one who said, okay, you can sing and we need to put you out there.
So the cradle that formed you appears like is that environment with your grandmother that influenced you taking on this career. Is that the sense you get?
Yes, it was subconscious, but definitely being around those people and them singing all the time and being around music, definitely it shaped me in that, and it took me in that direction.
And Tessa Reynolds, this was at Avondale Primary School.
That's right.
And you were 8 years when you first encountered. Is she alive? Is she around?
No. Unfortunately, she passed on. Yeah.
But she had a big influence on your life.
Absolutely.
Talk to me about that encounter and the way she nurtured you.
Tessa was the music teacher at Avondale School. And I believe that year, she was doing an audition for the Wizard of Oz musical. And one of my friends dared me and said, let's see if you can get a part. So I went and I sang my heart out for her. And she was like, oh my gosh, you've got such a great voice, but your height suits for a munchkin. But don't you worry, I've got you. All right. So I was a munchkin for Wizard of Oz. But after that, she would take me to our house and expose me to various kinds of music. And she would shape me and take me in front of a lot of different audiences. And before I would perform, she would say, I want you to make them love you. And I must say it was very difficult because at the time, I'm a little young Black girl, and she'd take us to retirement homes where there was a lot of white folk who I'm sure were coming from a, that kind of time. But, and she would say, make them love you. If you can make them love you through your voice, you're good. And so when I would sing, I would be very aware of people's reaction, and what was going on in my mind was, okay, how can I then take this to a direction where then I can get his attention or her attention. So that was things that we did a lot of times, and again, that I think shaped the performance as well.
Did you get the opportunity to go and tell her that she had this big influence over your life? Did she know?
I hope so. She retired while I was still at school. I was in junior high, Form 1, Form 3, actually. And then her and her husband, she was married to a Judge Reynolds. I think he was,
right.
in the High Court here. So they retired and they went to Botswana. I managed, because it wasn't just me. There was also Mr. Bell and a guy called Tapiwa Chirisa. And Kenneth is the one who was called Mr. Bell. She managed to get in touch with the daughter. And she says, look, I've managed to get a hold of a daughter. And what we then did was convey a message to her through
That's
her.
beautiful.
Like, we really appreciate you. We hope you're good in Botswana. And what I also then did at the time was, every time I had a platform like this, I would always acknowledge her. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
We need to do that.
Yeah.
So before actually you joined Jazz Invitational, you made your debut with the multi-award winning movie More Time. Am I right?
Yes.
Do I get my sequencing right?
Yes.
1993.
Yes, that's correct.
How did you get involved with More Time? I mean, that was still a celebrated movie. Talk to me about how you got involved, how they found you. Did you audition or what?
Yes, I had to audition. But what happened was, I went to girls' high school. So obviously, being at girls' high school, you had a lot of talent shows. And one of them, Albert Nyati, was the adjudicator. So he came through, and then I've no idea what it was I was doing, but he definitely spotted me. And then he was part of a group called the Al City Dub Poets. So they had music, poetry, and then they needed somebody to sing. So he would come and rehearse at girls' high school, and he would ask me to be a part of that. So I would sing, and we would do a whole lot of shows here and there. And then when the casting director, Andrew Whaley, for More Time, their paths crossed, I believe, with Albert Nyati. And Albert was like, I've got a girl who I think can play this part. So my first audition was at Harare Gardens. Albert Nyati had a show, but then he decided, he's like, before I go on, you need to get on stage and just sing a song or two. And I'm like, what are you doing to me? You want to kill me? Little did I know it was actually the first audition. So she's like, no, he was like, just go and do something. I sang Somewhere Over the Rainbow and the Zulu Lullaby. And they were in there, and they loved it. And then after that, I did the audition in front of the camera, and that was it.
And how was that journey? I mean, you it became a big thing.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the impact it had on your career, being part of More Time.
Realizing also that, wow, okay, I could take acting, as a career. So that was the first thing. It was such a professionally done production that I got also. I'm always observing and learning. So I picked on, wow, okay, if they're saying this is a movie production, these are my rights. This is what I need to look out for, and that, and this, and you get to sit, around the table and do a reading, and then you act and you do some research. So learning more about going into film was a takeaway from there. The team was absolutely professional, from the cast to the crew. Um, it was an amazing journey. Yeah, an amazing journey.
Learning, observing and learning.
Yeah.
You've said it twice, if not 3 times now.
Yeah.
Is that you going through life, always observing and learning?
It seems like it's part of me. I love to watch. And even when things happen, I'm not very quick to react. I want to understand where it's all coming from. And if it's something I can learn and say, oh, okay, I can take that into my own life and shape my own character, then that's what it is. Then if it's not, I know, okay, I'm not going to do things like that. So it's always been like that. Yeah.
I get the sense, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you didn't deliberately say, I want to be an actor.
No, I didn't.
It came for you.
I think with a lot of these journeys, I believe God was guiding my destiny. I truly believe that, because I spoke about with the music, it was a dare, and then it got me to meet this wonderful lady called Tessa. And then with the movie thing and the acting thing, it again, it's just performing and Albert and things like that. I believe God was actually taking me in that direction. I must also then say that also growing up, at the time I was growing up, being an artist was not really something people looked up to. So I had this gift and I did not recognize it because family did not really put a spotlight on it. It was more like, oh, it's
by and by.
Yeah. And this was supposed to be the path I was supposed to take. So other people had to be put into my life to show me that this is the direction you're supposed to take. And then we can throw in factors like when you go to school, you always have people saying, you need to do your maths, and you need to excel in your maths, you need to excel in your English, because you've got to become a doctor, you've got to become a secretary, you've got to become a teacher. Those were the professions that were revered upon, but not music. So it was very important to have, I believe, in my life, those people, because even though you have that voice talking about that's not an ideal profession, but there are people there who kept reminding me that this is a gift and you need to move in this direction.
That's so beautiful out there. A right place, I think, for us to take a break. We're going to take a break. At home, please don't go away. When we come back, you decide to go solo in 2011.
Yeah.
And I just want us to go there and find out what made you decide to go solo. So at home, don't go away. When we come back, we're going to go to that space in your life. See you on the other side.
He sat me down. I remember I went to Pakari Pai and he's like, Prudence, just do it already. You'll never know. You're going to die with regrets.
Welcome back to our conversation with Prudence Katomeni Mbofana, performing artist, vocal coach, and songwriter. And by the way, let me remind you to subscribe. Remember, we're currently sitting on 9 million views and growing. We are on 61,000 subscribers, and I would love you all out there to subscribe so that you don't miss out on these insightful and thought-provoking conversations. So please, right now, click onto that subscribe button, click onto that notification bell, and join our growing community of subscribers. So we're back. I say when we come back, we go to that place where you decide, I want to go solo. Talk to us, walk us through the process. What makes you want to go solo? What conversation are you having in your head about wanting to go solo? Take us there.
Yeah. During my stint with Jazz Invitation, people grow and certain things become priorities. So you had that going on. And then at the tail end of that relationship, that's when I jumped onto the project with the Cool Crooners. So that meant quite a lot of traveling with the Cool Crooners and recording, obviously, of the project. So went on that tour, and again, certain things were opening up, and I think also being exposed to that music, plus of course my time with Jazz Invitation, there were songs that were boiling in me, or bubbling, that's the word, and I needed to express them. So coming back from the tour, I did have a chat with Kelly Risike, but he as well had taken over Shared Studios in a big way.
Yeah.
So obviously his time was more, concentrated on that. So like I said, people with, time moves, people's priorities change, and it's good. That's the growth, And because of that, I decided, okay, I've got my music. I'm putting it down. I'm going to record it. If I need assistance from any of the Jazz Invitation members, they would come on board and they would assist. But I felt at the time it was very, very important to actually step away from it and just experiment and see who Prudence is as Prudence. And actually, it's not the first song, but on the debut album, one of the song, Emancipation, is dedicated to like Jazz Invitation and people like that in my life, Yeah.
And Emancipation, are you emancipating yourself, or talk to me about that title?
It's more like okay, I'll take you through some of the lyrics. It was like, thank you for your mentorship and guidance. Thank you for laying that foundation that I now can build on. But now it's time for me to spread my wings and fly.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
Taking off on your own.
No.
Did you have any reservations? Did you have any fears?
What
if it fails?
Yeah. I had cold feet, but through it, I was talking to Sam Mataure a lot. And Sam was like, just do it. You'll never know if you don't do it. And he happened to decide to tell Oliver Mtukudzi about it. And so Oliver, every time I would meet Oliver was like, so how far with the project? And
it's out there.
And this is before I released, because now I recorded, and he's like, I'm waiting. I know about the project. I'm waiting. How far?
Yeah.
And I had also another episode of Cold Feet. Should I release it? Should I not? Should I? And I had to avoid him at one point. But then he sat me down. I remember I went to Pakari Pai, and he's like, Prudence, just do it already. You'll never know. You're going to die with regrets if you don't do it.
Any lesson from that part of your life? I mean, that hesitating, that fear. Shall I jump? Shall I not jump?
Yes, that don't always go for perfect. Sometimes with those little imperfections, that's what makes life exciting. When that project came out, I still had, but maybe we need to fix this and that. And that talk again with Oliver, um, it kind of reinforced that whole thing of, okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. Let's take it out as it is. It's perfect as it is with its imperfections.
Imperfections.
It's perfect as it
Perfect
is.
imperfections.
Yes. Oh, wow.
Perfection,
Nice.
imperfections.
Yeah. So yeah. So I had to do that because I think in a lot of things in my life I wanted to be absolutely perfect. But I had to learn that, mistakes are the ones that shape, and you grow from that. So let it happen and then learn from that.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
You then landed another role with the movie. Is it Mirage?
Yes, there was Playing Warriors before
Yeah.
that, and then Mirage. Yes.
Talk to me about Mirage. How did it happen?
Malaika.
Mhm.
Malaika got the script, and again, for some reason, my name, she says, kept popping, that you need to be a part of this. You need to be a part of this. So initially, when she sent someone through to get in touch with me, and I don't know why they failed. I was doing my teaching, happily doing my teaching, and everybody knew where to find me. But this person couldn't find me. So when she then insisted that, look, I'm going to look for her. Unfortunately, I had gone on a training trip to Malawi. So because of time, Malaika decided to go with another actress for that particular role. Coming back from Malawi, she then got in touch, and then she says, "Look, it didn't really work out, so
We still want you.
We still want you." So jumped on board literally a week before they went into shooting. So it was crazy, but it was another beautiful, lovely experience. I loved it. It was a different character. I was not, oh, nice, sweet Prudence. So it was a challenge. I love to live up to challenges. So it was, yeah, it was incredible.
But I didn't find this. Did you train as far as acting is concerned? Did you go to a training school to act?
No, that's the weird thing. Going back to Avondale School, Mrs. Reynolds did a lot of musicals. And I think it's the people that I was watching. This is where I always say this whole gift of watching and observing. Lucian Musamati was a senior at Avondale School, and he's now big in Hollywood. And I would watch him. I remember one of the biggest roles he played, the one that really got my attention. He was Baloo in Jungle Book at Avondale School, and I remember just in awe of the way he acted. That, and this is primary school. So I think watching people like him growing, I think that helped. So you take those nuggets that you picked. Oh, when he did this, he did it like this. Okay, maybe I need to be in this particular character. So yeah, so there wasn't training.
If I am fascinated about how your career evolves, both the singing and the acting. There's a lot of serendipity there. There's a lot of, like you're saying, watching and listening. At a young age in Avondale, somebody makes an impression by their being on the stage, and it makes an impression on you, and it begins to plant a seed. This is what I might want to do. Talk to me about that.
Wow, I don't even know how to explain it. It feels innate. It's like a character of mine. It feels like a character of mine that I need to. If something catches my eye, I watch and I observe, and I learn from it, and I guess I store it deep, in my conscious, so that when I need it, it comes
out
to the front. Yeah, and I take from that and learn.
So you've just done Wea Tidanani.
Yes.
And it's one of your hit songs at the moment. Talk to me about the inspiration behind that song, and as you do that, what your creative process is. What triggers a song? What triggers you doing a piece?
A piece could be it's anything. I think as artists, yesterday I was talking to a fellow colleague, and it was quite cold yesterday, and a lot of people were going on, shivering and making, the sounds, and it's like, this is a great space for a musician, because you take that and you create, you get creative ideas from the way someone is shivering, and you hear that rhythm and you take it and you run away with it. So there's a lot of that observation for me that comes into play. Sometimes it's listening to a song, somebody else's song, and you're inspired, and you're like, okay, that's lovely. If I take that, I'm thinking if I can go in that direction. So with Kuyat Anane, it was one of those. I was listening to a song that my son it was high on his playlist, and then I thought, okay, I love the way I loved the rhythm, of that song, and in terms of the composing, it had been a while since I had composed, and I thought, okay, I need to do a song that kind of brings back the art, my listeners, my fans, and say, look, come, let's rekindle that love,
I see.
kind of thing. Yeah. So then the writing went in that direction with the melody.
So this was not about Comfort Mbofana, is it?
I'm sure he came up in the thought process somewhere, but it was actually a lot of the fans.
Yeah,
it was more
the fans.
about the fans.
Tell me about Comfort Mbofana. I have lots of time for him. I have lots of time. How is he doing?
He's doing very, very well. Mm-hmm. He loves his job.
Mm-hmm. He's become a chef, I gather.
Yeah,
he's become big.
Yeah, quite. Yeah.
How many kids do you have?
We have 4.
4 kids.
We have 4 boys. Yeah.
Any of them following behind your footsteps?
Unfortunately, all of them can sing.
Yeah.
So there is a bit of artistry in that. The first one, he dabbles in the admin part of the medical world, but he loves to produce. He's got an amazing ear, an amazing voice. He's also doing a bit of producing on the side. Our second born is a culinary chef.
Wow.
Yes, and I think he's a poet in there, because he wrote something and collaborated with his brother on one of the projects, and he's got absolutely fantastic writing skills. My number 3, he's in Form 1 and he's already playing an assembly piano. Wow. He didn't want mom to teach him, so he's half self-taught on the piano. And the young one has got the most amazing falsetto voice, like this high voice. His
father is a big voice, a deep voice.
Yeah. So all of them have got a little bit of that whole artistry in them. They were not going to go anywhere with a mom and dad like us.
Absolutely. I want us to listen to you performing with Ruveneko at the Africa Day gala. That was beautiful. You're spontaneous. So we're going to take a brief listen to that.
Gandarangu dema regaindi dadenaro. Gandarangu dema regaindi dadenaro. Mutupu wangu ini regaindi dadenawo. Mutupu wangu ini regaindi dadenawo. Zika zangu ini regaindi dadenazo. Zika zangu ini regaindi dadenazo. Kana mutauru wangu regaindi dadenawo. Kana mutauru wangu regaindi dadenawo. Impasina neyo inokoromoka. Impasina neyo wakaiwane biko. Impasina neyo inokoromoka. Impasina neyo aina maturo dadanejau.
Talk to me about the idea behind putting together these beautiful, talented young people. Where did this come from?
Um, throughout my career, there was always people coming and they were like, please, could you teach me how to sing? And I believe if you're going to impart something, you got to have the know-how. You may be able to do something, but are you able to teach and impart it in the right way? So I held back a little, but because all that kept coming in, those people kept knocking on that door, I decided to, go and take my degree. And then within that, there was also like pedagogy teaching. So there was a time I needed to take a sabbatical, especially in performing because of kids. The family was growing. And I just thought, okay, let me take out my teaching degree and let me put something together. I've always wanted to open either a conservatory or some kind of academy for music. So what happened was I found out that there was actually one that was already in its teething stages, and
this is Music
Crossroads Academy. Exactly. Yeah. So I hopped onto that wagon, studied the curriculum, which was still developing, got in touch with the team that was developing the curriculum. They asked me to come on board and also assist with that. So I became part of the teaching team there. And of course, being in my more mature phase of my life, becoming a parent, the calling of imparting now was really ringing loud.
Strong.
And so it was very important that I take on this role and teach and impart. Whoever wanted to listen to my experiences globally performing, I would just share. So that was the platform, and
hence this group, this young group that we listen to at the gala dinner.
And that is just a portion. There's some that have gone, the alumni, they are doing amazing things, and that's globally. So for me, it's another part of me that I enjoy.
Beautiful. We're going to take a break here. We'll continue on this part of you that you enjoy, which is teaching. So when we come back, we're going to drill deeper into Prudence's teaching, passion for teaching, rather. So don't go away. See you on the other side.
I've had quite a few stints with artists. I will not disclose names where I've shared my artistry and they don't want to
pay you. Welcome back to our conversation with Prudence Katomeni Mbofana, performing artist, vocal coach, and songwriter. And let me take this opportunity again to remind you to subscribe. We're currently sitting on 61,000 subscribers and 9 million views. Very excited about that. I would love all of you to subscribe. There are advantages to subscribing. You get a notification every time we have one of these quality conversations. So please, proceed right now and hit that subscribe button. Go on to that notification bell and join our incredible community of viewers. So we went briefly into your teaching. I'm going to take a little bit of break and go into who is Prudence Katomeni? Where were you born?
I was born in Highfield.
Yeah.
At the Highfield Clinic. So I'm a field girl.
And then you did you go to school in Highfield?
No, my parents then started renting an apartment in the city.
Okay.
So then did a stint at David Livingston. And then they got a space in Strathaven, a house in Strathaven. That became our family home. And then I was at Avondale School until grade 7.
What do you remember the most from your parents, your mom and dad? What sticks out in terms of what they handed to you?
Okay, my dad, I didn't hear him sing a lot, But Lord, he exposed me to a whole lot of music because every Saturday there was a theme. There was vinyls came out. Remember the vinyls?
Yeah.
And he would play, and that was literally the whole Saturday morning, into the afternoon. So he was an artist, and not only good ear in picking music, but also a painter.
I see.
Um,
Mom?
Disciplinarian.
Ha.
Yes. Oh Lord. Yes. Yes. One of those when it's 3:45 and it's a holiday and you're like, Mom will be here at 5. What haven't I done that I was told this morning to do? So you're making a checklist and making sure everything is disciplinarian. But lovely lady.
Did she sing?
Yes, but very shy.
Mm-hmm.
Very shy. She was I think the shyest of her siblings, but a beautiful voice. Beautiful voice. Very intelligent woman. Very strict when it came to schooling and stuff like that. But she tried to hide it, but she had a whole lot of love. Yeah.
And then you decided to go and do a degree. Talk to me about that. And that's you're trying to sharpen your skills around teaching. Talk to me about that.
Yes, that was part of it, because I was having a lot of these people coming up and they wanted me to teach them. So that was very important to take on that degree. But also during my tour,
was it at the Africa University?
Where yes, did you Africa do this? University. Yes, yeah. Africa University. So because it was a music degree, the faculty was placed at the Zimbabwe College of Music. So that's where we were based. The other reason that I decided to take on this degree is because, again, when I was touring, a lot of music was, I was creating a lot. And the one thing I found out was trying to explain to people that I wanted to sound like this. I did not have the jargon. It was crazy. So it's either you're singing, and even when you sing, they can't capture the essence. So I had to equip myself with the language.
That's interesting.
And so that was very, very important.
So it added onto your tapestry, as it were.
Yes. Yes. So yeah.
The other, so you did Musical Crossroads. You're still doing that. You started in 2017.
Yeah.
And then 2019 Global Music Academy. Talk to me about the Global Music Academy.
These are the curriculum developers. So while I was at Crossroads, then they came and they're like, okay, there's this person, and I had shared a couple of observations on the curriculum. So they were like, come on board. You're gonna help to develop this curriculum. So we've been doing that. We've been
And you do teach at the College of Music. Talk to me about
at Music Crossroads Academy.
Music Crossroads, not the Zimbabwe College of Music.
No? I did a stint there. Yeah. That was after the degree, kind of checking out the skills. Yeah, so I did teach there, but it was like a year.
So composing, singing, and then teaching.
Yeah.
What do you get from teaching?
I think the benefit of I'm imparting the right way. So that feeling, that's one. And I must say, teachers are also performers, because you have to look into your class and you're going to deliver a particular topic, but you may find that one person, and face can tell a lot. That one is lost. Okay, let me approach it a different way.
Right.
So sometimes you find yourself even doing a little dance physically, but as long as it's the message gets through. So it's a type of performing. So I feel really good actually after a good lecture.
Talking of performance, you've traveled the globe quite a lot. Which of your performances overseas sort of stands out to you, and why?
I think, oh God, this is hard. Hey?
So you've been to Sweden, you've been to Germany, you've been to the USA, you've been to Australia. Does any one of these stand out? And
Okay, I'm just going to pick. There are quite a few. There
Yeah,
are quite a few. So
yeah.
I'm going to pick when I did the America tour. It was part of we're fundraising for an orphanage from the church that I was a part of, Upper Room Ministries at the time. So they joined with a sister church from Canada and we came up with an album. So we're touring, and we went into this church. I'm just going to say that because at the time I had no like background information. Went into this church, and we did our performance and everything. Then the pastor gets up and he says to everybody, I need us to pray for this young woman. She's got a voice that ministers, and it's very, very important that she continues on this path. That was John Hagee.
Wow, really?
I didn't know then who it was, but I remember it was.
This is fascinating.
Yeah, I think fatigue was kicking in, so my voice was a little, shaky, not how I wanted it to sound. And I don't take any performance for granted. So going up there, it was a really big prayer that I said, and I said, I just need.
But you did it.
Yeah,
you did it.
So went there and I sang my heart out, and I think, he saw something, and God spoke to him, and I got that blessing from that church, and I think that's one of the greatest ones.
That's beautiful. You've done a number of collaborations. You've already mentioned the Cool Crooners. You sang Miriam Makeba, Hugh Masegela, the late, may their souls rest in peace, Tech 6. Any one of these that to you stand out, and why would they stand out?
What I think with a lot of those people, what happened is I shared the stage. It's either we were curtain raisers for them.
Okay.
And then, but with Hugh Masekela right now, that stands out. With Hugh Masekela, he came over and he started a project. And the project was to do a collaboration with women, and looking at the Zimbabwean identity, making sure that stands out and it's not compromised. So initially, I know that he had spoken to Chiwoneso, and then unfortunately, Chiwoneso passed on before she could take on
rest in peace,
Absolutely. So our paths met with Hugh, and I went and I sang for him, and he's like, you need to be a part of this project. So we got together, and we put some songs together with him. I learned a lot.
What a man.
What a man. I mean, in terms of you being proud of who you are, no matter what, no matter where you are, do not compromise on that, because God did not make a mistake. And that's what he kept saying. He didn't make a mistake. He didn't make a mistake with your hair. He didn't make a mistake with the color of your skin. He didn't make a mistake about who you are and what you believe in. And I really loved that about him.
Hugh Masegela.
Yeah. So we did some songs. Unfortunately, the project didn't, he again passed on. But I'm happy to say on the project that I'm working on, I want to resuscitate 2 of the songs that I did with him.
That's
there.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I'll share this. When I turned 50, I invited him to perform at my 50th birthday. So flew him from South Africa, Johannesburg, to here. So I've got very fond memories of Hugh. And then the next day, we all flew together back to South Africa. What an amazing man.
He was such an amazing man.
Yeah.
Took a lot from him. Yeah.
And Tuku, you spent some time. We've already shared about Tuku. Yeah.
Yes. Tuku
again,
was
another person who had so much time for everybody.
For everybody, and when I was trying to prepare for this conversation, I was like, okay, what is he going to ask me? What is he going to, and I started going through things like that. And I said, okay, what if he asks me about Oliver Mtukudzi?
There you go.
and that question came up. But here is just the level of his humility. I remember I was coming from a show with Comfort. And we decided, look, nobody's going to cook or try and heat up. So we stopped at a food court along Simon Mazoro Mashingo Road. So we walked in, did our, order. And then as we're waiting, we kept looking at this couple, and we looked at each other like, are we seeing correctly? And there was Mr. and Mrs. Mutukudzi sitting in a corner, like girlfriend and boyfriend, and they were having a lovely little meal at the food court. And we're like, what do you say? I did it right. And what have you? It was like a normal conversation with normal people. He never had your celebrity airs, he was just an amazing guy. Yeah.
Wow, beautiful. Talk to me now about artists tend to struggle with drugs, financial issues. Has it been smooth sailing with you?
No. The one thing about artists is that you live to create. You want to create. So sometimes, and more times than not, you are not focusing on the monetary part, and it's a natural thing, unless if you have people in your life as managing, or you grew up in a space where people taught you how to manage money. It doesn't come very naturally for an artist. All you want to do is I want to create this. It's downloading in me, and I want to just share it with the world. So I've had my moments, but again, I take you back to Tessa Reynolds. Those shows that I went to, whether it's a group of old age people or whatever, she made sure after every show, those people, they may not pay me in money, but they had to pay me in kind. So when I got back home, I had a little hamper, be it a mug and a cup, and and my mom would ask, "Cool, what's wrong, Kupi?" And I was like, "Oh, I sang and I got this." So subconsciously, she was teaching me, this is a living. You have to you perform, and you get something in return. I don't know whether that was intentional, but that's what I got from there. So I took it with me. I've had quite a few stints with artists. I will not disclose names where I've shared my artistry, and they don't want to
pay you.
And I've had to gather the right words and then let them know that, look, this is how I make my living. So it's very important you pay. And of course, Comfort came then in, and he says, but you also need to know your worth. You need to calculate what your worth is. So when you then say pay me, and they say how much, you need to know what your worth is. So had to start.
Do you get the sense artists appreciate it? Do we appreciate you?
I think in Zimbabwe we still we still need to get there. I love the celebration, what's coming up. People come and they support at shows and stuff like that. But one thing I noticed at a trip in Denmark was that I went there. They asked me to bring merchandise and, of course, my songs, on CD. And I gave them a price. And I said, my CD is this amount and my merchandise is this amount. And like, nonsense. Your music should be, and they tripled that fee. And I was like, no, but I'm tengi. And they're like, you'll be surprised with the Danish. And what I noticed is people will come and they will buy because they understand. They've got an understanding of what artists go through to create that. You cannot place a price to it.
Absolutely.
So when you say this is the amount, they appreciate and they do that. So we need to get there.
Absolutely.
But we're not far off in Zim.
What's the toughest lesson that life has taught you? I love the lessons you're thinking of. That. I hear Mrs. Reynolds say to you, make them love you. Make them love you. I mean, that's a beautiful lesson, but what's the toughest lesson that life has taught you?
Not everybody will love you. And it's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Wow.
It's okay.
I don't know. So, I mean, as you sit here, what's the one thing that you still chasing? What's your biggest goal that's not been accomplished? 4 kids, Comfort Mbofana is there, Comfort and Prudence,
Mhm.
beautiful names. What's the big thing that you're still chasing?
It's
too big to talk about.
I think so. What I think is I feel that I still haven't done enough in terms of performing and creating. I've got so many little bits of ideas in music, and I still feel I need to share with the world. I had to take certain, like, put that stuff on ice because I wanted to teach and then this and then that, but I still feel I still have a lot to offer on stage. I'm one of those. I remember we got the news that Miriam Makeba passed on. I was in Paris, just about to have a show there, and then we heard that literally she collapsed on stage. And it was sad, but I said that I want that to be me.
That doing what you enjoy.
Yeah. So for me, I think I still have a lot that I need to share with the world, musically and on stage.
I feel you do have, because you've been watching, you've been observing, you've been learning, you've got wisdom, you've been teaching, you've released quite a lot of talented people out there who are playing. I think something big is coming.
I believe in that too.
Yeah.
I believe in that too, Trevor.
I think at this point we're going to share books. Our viewers love books out there. So, what 3 books would you want to share with our book-loving audience?
I'm gonna give you, and I'll explain later.
Sure.
And I know they're kind of old school. I've got Da Vinci's Code. That's one, and then there is Harare, Johannesburg, Cape Town. That's by a lady called Zuki Swawana. And she also did, which is the one I'm going to be reading quite soon, which is The Madams. Yeah.
Very interesting books. Why are you choosing those particular ones?
I've accepted that I've got a very hyper imagination. So with the Da Vinci Code, when it came out and when I got to buy it, I was actually on tour in Paris. And when we got to a chapter and it spoke about a particular monument, I would actually take a bus or a train to there and read the chapter.
Wow.
So for me,
I like that.
Yeah, so I loved that about that particular one. With the 2 by Zuki Swawana is because she was my senior at Avondale School. She's a great writer. And again, it's fiction, but it's got quite a lot of also facts within that. Again, sometimes within her story writing, you get to a point or a plot or something, and you're like, I know where she got that from, and we were still in Avondale School, and so I love that. So for me, it's brought me really close to the book. Yeah, and also the way with Zuki Swa, the way she uses words, the way she plays with words. I think I want to be like her.
Oh, wow. I like that. So, wow, Prudence, thank you so much. Comfort, do hug Comfort on my behalf when you get home.
I will do that.
Performing artist, vocal coach, songwriter. I say this with all sincerity, that I sense that you're giving birth to something even bigger than what we saw you put on stage at the in conversation with Trevor Africa Gala Day dinner. I think there's something coming out of you. Because with all this observing, this learning, this watching, beautiful things are coming out of you. And we wish you all the very best in what you're doing. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I don't take this for granted. I appreciate this.
I appreciate
it too. Thank you. Allow me to turn now to our viewers who are all over the world who support this show. Remember, we are a weekly show. We are out on YouTube, 7 a.m. Central African time every Monday. To ensure that you don't miss out on any of these quality conversations, remember to subscribe. When and if you subscribe, you will get a notification when we have one of these quality conversations so that you don't miss out on these insightful and thought-provoking conversations. We also have gone a step further and created a website where all our content sits. You go to our website for podcasts and indeed for videos. We watch and read all your comments, all your feedback and suggestions as to who should be sitting here. We absolutely appreciate them. Keep them coming. Until next time, cheers to you all.